This is the zoning boards of appeal meeting for May 9th. First order of business is called meeting to order. Yes.
In the absence of our chairman, I move that we elect a vice chairman, and I move that it be Steve Hennessy.
I would second that.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded to make me vice chairman.
I second.
Is there any discussion on the matter? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay. Thank you. We have a quorum. We have jurisdiction. The variance is for the town of Acton, so that we have jurisdiction. The purpose of the hearing is to either approve or deny a variance for both the center of the road setback and the abutters setback. I'm now supposed to read the variance. The applicant's name is Maurice and Beverly A. Comtois, I guess. The address is 86 Smoke Street, Nottingham, New Hampshire, 03290. Telephone number is 603-679-2935. The location of property is Parsons Point Road / Grady Lake. Owners of the same, tax map 118, lot 6. Recorded at York Registry of Deeds, 5513, page 37. They're seeking a variance. The applicants seek a variance from the street setback of 50 to 17, that's 50 feet to 17 feet, and a variance of the side setback on their southerly boundary of 10 feet to 3 feet. The justification of the variance is, as shown in the attached plan, the subject lot is approximately 120 feet deep at its widest point. The only building envelope on the entire parcel which would allow compliance with the 100-foot shoreline setback is located in the southwest corner of the plot, which is the location of the structure which previously existed on the lot. The need for the variance is as stated above and shown on the attached plan. The shape and dimensions of the lot require any construction to occur within a very small available envelope outside of the shoreline setback. Excuse me. Granting the variance will not alter the essential character of the locality. The response is the proposed construction is of a single-family seasonal camp consistent with uses now existing in the locality. The hardship is not the result of actions taken by the applicant or a prior owner. The response to that is please see responses to items 1 and 2 in the attached supplement. Neither the applicants nor prior owners have contributed to the limitations presented by the lot in terms of the available building envelope. Granting a variance is based upon demonstrated need, not convenience, and no other feasible alternative is available. And the response to that is, without the requested variance, it is impossible to locate a dwelling of reasonable dimensions on any portion of the lot. Signed by Joseph Lankowski, attorney for the applicants. The applicant is not here. Do you wish to say anything on behalf of the applicant at this point?
I would just, for the record, and I did explain this to certain members of the board, the reason that the applicants are not here, we had originally requested that that the hearing, the board consider continuance of the hearing because the builder couldn't be available. We were concerned that there might be questions that only he could answer. It was originally thought that that was not going to be a problem. I made the classic error that a lawyer should never make, which was to tell my clients everything was all set, the hearing was going to be continued. Ken then realized that notice had gone out, and therefore that at the very least the hearing would have to be opened. So by that time, my clients had failed to make the necessary childcare and work arrangements to allow them to be here for this. The decision was made that I would attend, that the sidewalk would occur, we would convene here tonight, and if it appeared that there were matters that needed to be addressed that I was not competent to address, that we would request that the matter be tabled until either the builder or my clients could be here. So that's, I think, where we are at this point. Other than that, Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We have some butters here. Would you like to make any statements?
Yeah, for selfish reasons, I prefer not to have a house built on that lot, but it seems to me that the Comtoises have really made the effort to inconvenience us as little as possible. They're as far away from us as they can be. So I'm not going to stand here and really object strongly about it. What I am concerned about, one thing I'm a bit concerned about, is they're moving the road in front of my house. And in doing that, I didn't count the trees, but there must be 30 trees that are going to have to come down. It also, and we need to clarify, what happens to that extra land? Do I get it? And I'd like that clarified. I want to be sure that parking areas for this house are down near the house at their end. Boat storage and that sort of thing be down there as well. And their docks and whatever else be down near their house. I want some assurance from, I guess, from Mr. Paul that you will make them adhere to the plan as drawn. I would also like to ask that they plant some trees to replace the bunch that are going to be cut down. Basically, that's it.
Thank you. Mr. Paul, you have any for this?
Yeah, I can just address a couple of Mr. Donohue's concerns. There'd be a replanting plan due to the wide open area there. We'd received prior to issuing the permit, that would be part of it. It's greater than the initial 25 and 75 and 100 feet away from the water, so it gets into the 250 setback, which allows a 40% reduction in the trees, and you calculate your points and things like that. So it wouldn't be a lot of replanting in there, but there would be some in the old road location, I would imagine, which would be after the new road was built and the revegetation of that area. What we would require during construction is a certified plot plan by a surveyor telling us that the house is in the location of this plan, so we know it would meet the variance requirements. As far as parking boats and things like that, if it was on his property, that would be something, I don't think the town would be requiring where you park your area. The septic system, I believe, is concrete chambers.
That's staying where it is, right? That's already in.
It's where the basement is going to be.
Yeah, they're gonna relocate that. It's, currently it is not designed to park on top of, but they may make a change on that. 'Cause, I think it would be more convenient if they park right in that area there, or have the ability to put boats and things like that. As waterfront property, they just have a lot of toys and parking company, and they're on small lots, so every available area to park would be that. And that's in that shaded area where it shows that 100-foot setback where the house is not. That would be the where the septic is going, which still, I don't think it's it's just a little over halfway across the lot coming from the southern side towards Mr. Donohue's. That would die out about halfway across. But it's a better plan, much better plan than the first plan. It's the second plan they approached us with just really shrunk the house. And they've made an effort to purchase land across the street and relocate the road.
Did you get a copy of this information?
No, I've seen it. I would like a copy if I can get it.
Do you have an extra copy so you can give you a member's packet?
This for me?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any documents here at the town is all public information. Anytime anyone can come in and take a look at any file, it's all open for public view. Yeah, unless you guys have questions.
No, did you have any questions of Mr. Paul?
I do not, Mr. Chairman.
You guys?
Can I, just want to understand your authority. You can either grant the variance or not, you can't put conditions on it, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so you can't say you have to plant trees, you have to put the parking, it's either yes or no?
He can do that.
Okay, but again, he's only enforcing the law.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, if there's no further questions, remarks, or anything, I'm going to close the hearing for deliberations so that we can talk amongst ourselves. You guys aren't allowed to speak anymore unless you're asked a question, okay? Okay, so now we're closed for deliberations. We can either discuss this some more if you want. Somebody can make a motion, or we can table until we get more information. Whichever it's kind of up to you guys. I just sit here and wave my arms around.
I think we have plenty of information, I don't think we need to table it.
The only thing I would like to see is exactly where the new road is going to be. Because this seems kind of unclear. We see the property they purchased, but it's not real clear. Yeah, this shows the old road, the dotted line, and this shows the property that they've purchased. But is the new road, where is it coming in? Is it going to be right along the edge of this? It's not quite clear.
This also doesn't address how it's going to tie back into the existing road.
Right. And I would like to know for sure how that road affects the property of the abutters. As he mentioned, if it ends 10 feet, or is it going to be a long triangle based on how the road comes in? Would that really affect our variance? Probably not, but it might be important information to know.
You're not talking about the location of the road,
The new road.
it's just where the end of that new part.
Well, the more I look at it, how's it going to start too?
Yeah, but where is it gonna start?
I got it on that one there.
But that's much wider than the road will be, isn't it? That's the piece of property they bought.
No, the property is out on this end here. So that's the road mark, it shows where it's going to
Okay.
start and weave
Okay.
through. And here, I think when we were looking at it, when we were kind of parked in this area, it almost looks like the road just straightens into where it ties in there.
Okay.
I think Mr. Donahue's concern of the land in front of him is a valid concern, because I wouldn't want my neighbor owning a foot between me and the road, but I think his attorney may be able to answer that. It seems like a legal question of who would own that.
So this is Mr. Donahue's property line?
Correct.
So,
So it's that little bit of,
yeah,
that little area right there, which normally he would own right to the center of the road, so he may be gaining 10 or 12 or 15 feet.
And would that then be deeded to him? And would he be paying taxes on it? And
I don't think your taxes would change much. It's the waterfront and the camp, the little bit up top isn't gonna change much. But I'm sure their attorney would have an answer for that.
Mr. Chairman, may I just address the
yes, sir.
as we talked about, I think, and this is a legal opinion, of course, the law in Maine is that abutters own to the center line of the private road. So if the private road is relocated, you would own to the center line. I can tell you also, to the extent that you would be comfortable with something from my clients confirming that, you got it. We'll give you that.
Okay.
To make sure that that's clear, and so there's not gonna be any kind of problem for you down the road.
Would the deed have to be rewritten?
No, you can.
Yeah.
You don't have to, because it's statutory.
Exactly.
It's a matter of law that you own to the center lot.
Does- Okay, so it doesn't need to get recorded or?
It doesn't, no, it doesn't have to be. We can. I mean, we're gonna have to have the surveyor out there doing all of these other things anyway, and we could do that. But it's a matter of statutory law that when that private road gets relocated, your ownership is gonna shift to the new center line of that portion of the road in front of you.
Is that good for you or bad for you?
As long as Mr. Paul said, as long as my neighbor doesn't own a strip of land in front of me, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and the only
I
concern.
will talk with my lawyer about that too. just-
Yeah, the only concern I had is, say for example, the deed shows 156 feet from the lake, it may need to be changed to 162 or whatever. And at that point, I would think it would be the applicant would take care of the abutters deeds and any legal recording fees and things like that, that the applicant would take care of whatever the cost of the abutters would be. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Did you get a copy of that, Dan?
Kind of a smaller one, this small one.
Yeah. It's not you in front of the camera tonight.
Any further discussion?
We haven't heard anything from the abutters, the Leetle Lambs, right? But they knew about this meeting, and
Yeah, the mail wasn't returned, so they received it. So,
Okay, that's the 3-foot setback there.
right,
Can I say one thing about that? I think, this satisfies us. What worries me a little bit is the Lambs are gonna see this and be surprised by it at some point, and.
Well, they received this same packet.
I didn't get a package, I just got a little notice, and
I'm sorry. Okay. I thought they got the other packets.
if we don't know that they know about it, are they gonna be able to come back later and say, you gotta move down the other end of the property?
No, I don't think there's any chance of that happening. Is there?
no, even if by chance we didn't properly notify, it still doesn't come back.
so we haven't heard any negative reason not to grant this, except the amount of the variance. Are there precedents for a variance with this little setback in town?
We did one on Cogliandro Way a little while ago. The porch was a little too close or something like that, 75. Since then, we've looked at the zoning and we've changed the zoning to state, it's a 75-foot setback from the road unless it's a non-conforming lot, we could drop it down. And then we added the words, or it's a private road, we dropped it down to 50. So that actually would have eliminated that variance over there. But all the way up through that road, places, there's several that are close to the road. It's similar to the neighborhood there. It wouldn't be unique on a lot of it, but a lot of the camps are further down over the hill, so you've got a lot of steps to get to the camp because they're down by the water. There is no, in the town of Acton, we cannot grant anything less than 100 feet. So that area there is off limits for them. They did have a small camper trailer that he had variances for back in the 90s. And still thought he had those, and that's when he kind of was working out there and then realized that he only had a couple of years to do the work, and that was all gone over, and the regulations became much more stringent for him too. So that's why he's kind of been pushed into this corner here.
Have we ever had a variance with as little as 17 feet from the road?
It was common several years ago that variances were granted all the time. State law became much stricter, but over the past few years, they have released their interpretations of reasonable use of the property. The state used to look at it as if you could have a picnic table down there and enjoy picnicking, then you had a reasonable use of your property. They've since looked at it with a couple of different court cases that it's really the use of the property. If it's residential in a residential neighborhood, setbacks can be reduced through the variance process. It's the use of the property as far as a tire repair factory or business industrial compared to a residential neighborhood. That is the variances that they're still strict against. Because now you've got the whole neighborhood used to residential use, and now you've got commercial coming into the neighborhood. So the area or setback variances have become reduced over time as far as stringency on it. Gives you guys more of a broader way to look at it.
If you look at the previous variance, the house corner was going to be 2 feet from the edge of the road. And it doesn't take much swerving of a car to hit a house that close. The present variance request has the house 11 feet from the road, which from a safety standpoint doesn't seem like a problem at all. Is there any technical reason why, other than the 50-foot and the 10-foot setbacks, why this variance shouldn't be granted?
It's a dead-end road. It's built out already. There's no more areas that are going to be developed out there. It is what it is. It isn't going to be a subdivision in the future down there, and you're not going to get any more traffic. It is what it is, basically, out there. It is plowed and maintained in the winter, and it would really, to me, it's the applicant's issue with the snowplow. Drags the plow across the side of it, and, without a road association in there to work together on it, it gives them more avenue to pursue that way.
I'm concerned too about, and I just want to be clear, setting a precedent for other areas on Great East or any of the other lakes.
Yep. Everything you look at is somewhat of a precedent, but they all have their own unique characters. They all had, he had something there before, he's relocated, he's bought across the street, and as you guys are aware, we only have one variance a year, maybe request, or so we try to work it out as best as possible to use every option prior to coming to you guys. So there's somewhat everything you do is a precedent. Every time I write a permit, it's a precedent almost.
But they've been working very hard to have this.
They have.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they're, I think it's done well.
Yeah, compared to the first application.
was-
Which was
And then, and at that time, the abutter didn't want to sell any land, so they came back with a second application that shrunk the house, which they withdrew because they knew the outcome was probably going to be the same, and then the opportunity came for them to purchase the strip across the street, which is going to allow something on their property.
Will you be inspecting the building of the road?
Usually what we'll have is an engineer is going to design it, and when it's done, an engineer is going to write us a letter that it is built per his standards. So he went out and he looked at the compacting, he looked at the size, the layout of it, the sloping all on the side. It is a steep sloped area, so they'll have some sloping there. They'll have to revegetate that whole side there, and then revegetate the old road too.
With trees.
The trees, shrubs.
Any more discussion? Anyone care to make a motion?
Yes, I would move that the zoning board of appeal approve this variance for lack of any strong reason not to, and reflecting the amount of cost and effort that the applicants have put into making this a viable place for them to build a seasonal camp.
I'll second your motion.
All motions have been seconded to approve the variance. Is there any discussion? Those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carried. There you go.
Thank you very much.
You may appeal this decision to the Superior Court within 45 days if you wish.
I don't think so. Thank you very much. My clients will be very, very happy. You made two people very happy. Thank you. Thank you, and I know what I said, you know, if you talk to your lawyer and he has any questions.
He was no, Brad, you know Brad Moore?
Oh, sure.
Okay. Yeah, I know the building.
Yeah. So if there's something that he thinks that I can give him, I can give to my clients that was helping the situation.
Is there a motion to adjourn, or?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Before we do that, I was wondering if we want to establish a normal day that we meet, like the fourth Thursday of every month, something that works for everybody. That way then when we have a meeting come up, thanks guys.
Thank you.
That way then when we have a meeting come up, we'll plot it right into that versus trying to get everybody. Monday works for me, Tuesday works for you, Thursdays. Does Thursday nights work for everybody? Was 5 too early? 6 for a site walk? Yeah. So we'll try to do site walks at 6, meeting at 7 and go.
Unless it's the winter time. now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, then you're working even harder though. So, awesome.
So you're saying just to have it available, it's not like we're gonna meet it?
Exactly, yeah. So we shoot for the 4th, because that's non-planning board meeting night, so the space is available. And we'll make sure our videographer is available too. This was the workshop for Southern Maine Regional for zoning boards, planning boards, town planners. You guys just send us an email if you're interested in going. It's in Algonquin in June 13th, 7 to 9.
I'm going to be in France from the 10th of June to the 20-something.
We'll bring Virginia with us and she'll report it all here.
Okay.
Otherwise, I would,
There's a few others too. This is just the closest one. So we'll keep an eye out for ones that may be north of Portland or something like that. And they've been doing it for a little bit. And we can at least get the packets and stuff like that, and get them to you also.
yeah, okay, thanks.
What I found interesting on this is he has it listed as a summer residence before it was a year-round home. Which doesn't really matter.
No, he pulled growth permits, septic permits, and whether he uses it year-round. The road's tough to get into in the winter, although,
Does she still live there?
yeah, they're down to the
Does she really?
Okay, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And
Thank you.
It's like,